I'm gonna tell you about something super annoying with some sellers these days. And it's usually like the analytical engineering kind. And honestly, after they get to know me, it's all cool and everything. But these are some of the things that they say to me. I'm always under the assumption that people have done a little bit of research about me before they call me and hire me to come list their house. But sometimes they don't. Maybe they just see a flyer of mine or digital marketing, or maybe they just see a picture of me, or maybe they just see Remax, right? So they call. And they're trying not to be awkward about it, but they're like, so how old are you? How long have you been doing real estate? And I tell them, and they're always surprised. I am 49. I've been doing real estate for 26 years. I've been in this industry. I've been a broker in charge since 2005, so 20 years as a broker. And sometimes during the listing presentation interview, I ask them what they think their house is worth, and they'll tell me some crazy number, and I'll ask them, like, how did they get that number? They'll mainly just talk about how much more awesome their house is and how much nicer their house is versus all of their other neighbors' houses and how much they've loved their house, but never really giving me any like concrete facts or data. Sometimes they'll even like whip out a house that is not even a comp to them, like something that's like on the water or has a dock, and they don't. So, I always listen, and, by the time we get down to the kitchen table and we talk numbers and data, and I'll show them all the data, and I'll show them that what I think the range is. And I'll even explain, like, listen, I've had over 800 listings in 3 markets closed. Over 800 in my career. And yet they will argue with me on why my numbers are skewed or wrong or bad. I mean, it's literally what I do for a living. And I've done it pretty well, I think. So it's okay. I'm like not trying to argue with anybody and like be like confrontational. I hate that part. But honestly, the data doesn't lie. I have to just keep referring back to the data. And I actually say to sellers, listen, you could want to price your house $100,000 over what it's probably worth, but you're only open to cash buyer at that point. Or if it doesn't appraise, like someone's going to have to, if they get a loan, they have to get an appraisal. So if it doesn't appraise, they're going to have to come, the buyer's going to have to come the cash difference, or you're just going to have to renegotiate again and probably come down to the appraisal price at that point, or your contract's going to fall apart and you have to start the whole process over again. I always remind them, look, I'm not out to get your money. I'm out to tell you the truth. I'm not just trying to get your house and sell it really fast and make a commission and take off. I think that's sellers' biggest fears right now, really. And until you kind of understand where they're coming from and what their motivation is and like what they believe, until you show them tons and facts of data, especially engineers and really smart people with like masters and PhDs and beyond, right? So honestly, you just have to really tell people the truth. You have to tell people the truth, and where it lies is where it lies. I don't really like to take overpriced listings, don't really do it. I probably did it in the beginning of my career because I was excited to get a listing and I just wanted to make it work. And I was a people pleaser and I wasn't running my business like a business. And the sad fact is you can find yourself fired when you don't get the job done. Because if you like agree to take the listing at that price, then the seller actually thinks they have a chance, even though they know deep down that it was nowhere near the comps. Do you understand what I'm saying? And for you to come back in and try to strong arm them later, you're not going to win. You're not going to win against someone who's way smarter than you sometimes. They're just, they dig in their heels. They don't see you as a professional if they're not going to listen to your advice or even look at the data and listen to the data. They're so emotional about their house. It may never even sell. Even if you get it under contract, the whole thing might blow up. I've been on over probably 1,000 listing presentations in my career. It's kind of crazy to think about. And I've opened like 7,000 doors. Like, think about how many times I've opened a lockbox in 20 something years. It's kind of crazy. So when you get a real estate agent, seller gets a real estate agent, someone that's been doing it for a really long time, just listen to your agent.